All right, everybody, this is a overview of the main economic thinkers that have either influenced or contributed to our understanding of economics. This is by no means a exhaustive, in-depth study, but this is meant to kind of give you a bit of an understanding as to where ideas are coming from. Because the reason for it is because mainly it's this. Currently, as of recording this video, the 2020 election is about to kick into high gear. And one of the things that people vote on is the economic policies of whatever candidate that they like. And what happens is, depending on which thinker you kind of lean towards the most, you're going to vote for the politician that's going to try to carry out those policies. So this is why in Texas, for example, we teach government and economics around the same time, your senior year. The reason for it is because politics affects economics, and economics affects politics. And the politicians that we vote for, they enact the policies that influence the economy. These are the thinkers that influence those policies. So, for example, you have a thinker, he puts out some ideas, a politician will be like, hey, I like those ideas, and then he's going to try to enact them as policy. And that's the important thing about all this. So the main conundrum, though, in all this, doesn't matter which economic thinker that you go with, but the main conundrum is the economic cycle. We have sort of talked about this in previously when we were doing the circular flow model. When we were going over that, I made a comment that said when this cycle slows down, when the money doesn't flow, when the resources doesn't flow, it just doesn't flow as fast. It starts to slow down. What's going to happen is your economy is going to naturally slow down, and you can move towards recession, depression, whatever. This right here, this one, is how we measure that. Because when this is going fast, this is going up. When this is slowing down, you enter a contraction or a recession phase. So this is what's going on. And the question is really this: who should control the factors of production? Who is to manage this? That's the question. So, the first real thinker is a guy named Adam Smith. What he did was he actually elevated economics to a science. What he writes, the first economics books. He does the first real studies. He writes the book where he talks about what he called the invisible hand. And pretty much his idea is this: economic systems are shaped by actors that should not be under economic control. Because he said no matter what people are going to do is they're going to work towards what he called their rational self-interests. There are things that you want. There are things that you need. No matter what, you're going to try to meet those wants and needs. Doesn't matter if it's legal, doesn't matter if it's illegal. And people are going to act accordingly. So again, he believed in very little control over individuals and their economic decisions. Because he said no matter what, doesn't matter how many rules you slap on them, people are still going to do what they want to do. Then you got Karl Marx. His thing is this. His ideas are used a lot in economics, and he talks about economics, but he was more of a sociological theorist, and this is kind of my opinion a little bit. And in short, what he did was he divided the world between oppressor and the oppressed. So you take that model and you apply it to economics. What he says is there's people who are economically doing well, people who are not doing economically well. The reason for it is because the people who are doing well are the people that are pretty much oppressing the people who are not doing economically well. And that's pretty much what he divided the world into. He didn't believe in rational self-interest or anything like that. Pretty much he just believed in one group oppressing another throughout history. And as far as in economics goes, what he said, and again, this is more of a sociological thing, the workers would rise up and take over the means of production, or the factors of production, is what we've been calling it. And once this was done, it would usher in a utopia where everyone works for the benefit of everyone. And countries have tried to put this into practice with not so great results. John Maynard Keynes, what he does is he was actually heavily influenced by Marx, and even a lot of governments have actually tied into him. And what he says, what he believed, was consumers do not cause shifts in the business cycle, meaning consumers themselves do not cause that up and down and up and down and up and down. They don't do that. What happens is governments and businesses and investors, they're the ones who cause that. So what he believed is governments should take an active role in the economy by promoting growth, by taxing and spending. And this is kind of what he would say. During the good times, the government taxes. It collects a lot of money. And if we go back to the circular flow model, what he would argue is the circular flow model is going and going and going and going and going and going and going. And if it goes too fast, it will, over time, burn itself out, meaning it's going to cause a recession. So what Keynes said is that governments need to tax at this time. When things are going well and that engine is going, governments need to tax to do two things. One, to keep the engine from burning up. So kind of put some brakes on it. And then second, when things start to slow down, when that engine naturally starts slowing down, starts showing the signs of a recession, then the government takes all that money they tax during the good times and they throw it into the economy. And the idea is when things are slowing down, you take the money, you throw it into the economy, and then you're able to jumpstart it and get it going again. Friedrich Hayek, he was Austrian, and he is actually founder of the Austrian School of Economics. And what he promoted was an idea that had been there before, but he kind of brings it into the kind of more modern world. He promoted laissez-faire economics. Pretty much that means the government hands off. Governments are not going, pretty much his argument, governments are not going to help in the long run. Because what he said, he is a response to Keynes. Because what he said was, yes, what Keynes says was work in a perfect world. But we're not in a perfect world. So what he argued was governments would tax all the time and governments would spend all the time. They would not hold fast to the strict schedule that Keynes said they would have to follow. He also looked at prices, and he actually said it can't even really be government that controls the economy. What actually controls the economy are prices. Prices is the system that controls the economy. If things are very, very valuable, people are going to charge a lot for it. If it's really, really expensive, so like for example, let's say that I sell shoes and I'm the only person who sells shoes. Well, because I'm the only person who sells shoes, I can charge a lot of money for those shoes. I could charge $500, $600, $700 for some shoes. These are some nice shoes. What that means is somebody else will look at me and go, huh, I can make a lot of money selling shoes too. So what's going to happen is you are going to go off and start selling shoes. Because you're going to flood the market with more shoes, that is naturally going to pull the price down. And if shoes get too cheap, like they're $1, I'm going to stop making shoes and start making something else. And that is Hayek's ideas. And again, I'm taking a lot of stuff and breaking it down into something really, really simple and small. But that's kind of how the price system would kind of control the economy. And he said that the government, in the end, would hurt the business cycle. They would actually, in their attempt to make things better, they would actually make things worse. They would drag out the bad times and cut the good times off too early. Because governments are not quick to respond. And what he would say is economies move faster than how any government could react to any quick, sudden changes within the economy. And then you got Milton Friedman. He contributed to our understanding of a lot of things. Income, unemployment, the role of money, like what is money, and the role of free markets. He opposed government involvement in the economy. So very influenced by Hayek. And pretty much what he said is governments by their nature are not going to necessarily want what's best. Governments in the end are going to want more power for themselves. So what he believed is if you put the government in control of the economy, what the government is going to do is they're going to control the economy for the government's benefit and not necessarily for the benefits of individuals. So pretty much the idea is keep the government out, let individuals work the economy themselves. That's pretty much taking his ideas and breaking them down to a couple sentences. And yeah, these are the things that people vote for. Now, granted, they don't vote for Milton Friedman or Karl Marx or John Maynard Keynes, but what they're doing is, they're voting for people like Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden. And their economic platforms, their economic plans that they would like to take the United States is influenced by these thinkers. For example, kind of where we are right now, Donald Trump, very heavily influenced by Hayek and Friedman. Biden, more influenced by Keynes. And Bernie, kind of a combination of Marx and Keynes. So these are probably leaning more towards the Keynes, or I'm sorry, the Marx. But these are but again, these are the things that are happening. And again, this is not exactly, the crazy, sexy stuff that, you see on TV that really catches the attention. But these are the things that are probably the most important. Because you can put these policies in effect one way or another. And you can actually influence the next 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years based off of what policies are put in place today or even tomorrow. And that's about all. Peace out.